Hello and welcome. My name is Laramie, and today we are going to talk about my 2025 knitting goals. Specifically, we are going to go through my 2025 knitting bingo. So what I have done, rather than set like very specific list of things I want to do with my knitting this year, I have created a list of 24 items or 24 things that I would like to try to knit this year, but I'm removing the pressure of having to knit all 24 of them or feel like if I don't complete every single one, then I haven't met my goal. So what I've done is I've written them out on a bingo card, and this is my copy, but I will create a nice image and put it up on the screen somewhere for you so you can kind of follow along. But basically, I am doing 2025 bingo. So I have brainstormed 25 or 24 technically different things that I think I in the future would like to learn or attempt with my knitting. And my goal this year is to just make a bingo. And so you'll see I have a free space in the middle where I am going to get to mark off, just like in a normal bingo card, if I get like 4 in a row right through the middle, and then I can just mark that one off and get a freebie. So in theory, if I just complete 4 of the items on this list, I can get a bingo. And so my goal this year is just to get a 2025 knitting bingo. So I do have 3 specific goals that are not on the bingo card that I do want to complete this year. And so if you're interested in that, watch till the end of the video. We'll cover them then. But I'm just going to walk through and read through, for those of you who are doing other things while listening to this video, the 24 knitting goals that I have on my bingo card. So the first one is to knit something with cables. I am very intimidated by cables, but I hope this year that I can at least sit down and maybe knit a hat or even a pair of gloves where the cables are only on like the back side of my hand or on the cuff. Something simple with cables. Just learn how to do cables. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think you can do cables without a cable needle, but I think I would like to try it both ways. Maybe the first time do it with a cable needle. Next is I want to knit a t-shirt. I really love knitted t-shirts to wear to work. I'm a teacher, so I'm moving around a lot, and I sweat a lot. So having something wool that can absorb moisture and is warm on my body, but still is like pretty open on my arms, and then I can always throw on a cardigan if I needed. So I want to knit a t-shirt. I also want to knit the Grace sweater. I will throw a picture of it up here. I want to finish a work in progress sweater. So what I mean by this is either finish the step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller or finish my raglan, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's by Made in the Moment, the raglan sweater that you can knit along to following that YouTube video. So either of those, if I finish them, I can mark off finish work in progress sweater. I want to make myself a pair of mittens. I want to complete some kind of scrappy project. My thoughts with complete a scrappy project is I am going to be knitting a lot of socks this year, so I would like to do something with all the extra sock yarn I have left over, so that one will probably be saved towards the end of the year. But I do have some leftover yarn from 2024 projects that I might see if I can use up in some kind of scrappy project. The next one on my list is visit a local yarn store. There are a lot of local yarn shops here in the greater Omaha, Nebraska area, and I would love to visit at least one of them, but really I would like to visit them all and start shopping far more local than I have been for my yarn supply. I just haven't made it a priority, so this year that's on my list. I also want to finish my work in progress blanket. So I have been working on this blanket ever since I basically started knitting, and it's taking me forever. I'm in no rush to finish it, but if I do, I can mark off that on this list. Toe-up socks. I've knitted 1 pair of socks that I am currently wearing, and they were from the top down, or for cuff down socks, so I would like to try to knit from the toe up just to see which one I like better. I also would like to make a cowl. For Christmas, I was originally going to make my mom a cowl, and I want to make myself a cowl. So if I make her one or if I make me one, I can mark that off. I also want to try mosaic knitting. I love the look of color work, and I've heard that mosaic knitting is quite easy and very fun to do because you're just like passing the color over, like if you're doing like white in one row and the next row is black, but you want that white to carry through, I believe you just pass that white loop over and then you continue like keeping that black yarn behind, and then you continue knitting with the black. Probably not a great explanation because I've never done it before, but I'm really excited to try that this year. I also want to darn a pair of socks. I have a pair of socks, they're not handmade, they're professionally made, that I love. And I've had them for many, many years. And for most of those years, they've had a hole in them, so I haven't worn them, but I love them so much, I'm just not in a position to throw them away. So I need to learn how to darn so I can darn that specific pair of socks. And then when I inevitably get a hole in my hand knitted socks, I can also darn those socks or darn some of my other not handmade socks. And then you have my free space that I get to mark off if I get, 4 in a row across the middle. I also would love to make a sweater vest. I wear a lot of sweater vests at work. I think it's part of my, whole teacher vibe. I love wearing sweater vests. When it's warm out, I wear them as tank tops at work because they still look professional, but they're a lot cooler. And then in the winter, I layer like crazy with a sweater vest on top. I would also love to make the aisle pullover. I came across the aisle pullover just on Ravelry, and I was immediately like, I have to make that. At some point, I'm going to make that pullover. I also want to make worsted weight socks, and I have worsted weight yarn. I don't have it on me that I bought specifically to make worsted weight socks. I would love to make a tank top. If you watched my very long video about my 2024 knits, you will know that I tried and failed at making a tank top. I ended up frogging it. And I don't know that I'll make that tank top for this round, but I still want a knitted tank top, so I've added that to this list. Knit something with eyelets. I just think eyelets are a really pretty add-on to things, so I would love to learn how to do a simple eyelet on purpose. I've definitely done them by accident, but I would love to do them on purpose. I would also like to knit a textured sweater of some kind. I wasn't specific here. I just put texture sweater. And now that I'm thinking of it, maybe texture sweater was an actual sweater design. Either way, I'll throw up a picture of either the texture sweater Ravelry pattern or sweaters with texture. I'm not sure which one I meant here when I wrote it, but I wrote texture sweater, which makes me think that it is an actual sweater pattern that I was referring to. I would also like to make a top-down hat. So far, all of my hats have been brim up, so I would love to make one top-down. It just looks like a lot of fun. And I want to use, and I don't think I have it on me in here either, I want to use knitting from the top to knit a hat top-down. I would also like to improvise my own sweater. I'm wearing this sweater specifically today. This is a store-bought sweater. I got it at Goodwill. But I love the thick, long cuff here, or the neckline. I love the way this neckline sits. So I would like to make a sweater that replicates that. I would also love sleeves that are kind of puffy, and then you can quickly decrease to get a puffy sleeve at the end. That's something that I would love to create. And I would also like a certain length with a certain cuff look at the bottom. And I haven't came across the perfect sweater pattern on Ravelry yet, so I think I would like to attempt to make my own using all the various resources on the internet, as well as leaning on some patterns that are very similar and just seeing if I can kind of combine a couple patterns to come up with the perfect quote-unquote sweater for me. I would like to knit socks with a kite heel. I would like to knit another stuffed animal. In 2024, I knit my niece a fox named Emerson the fox, which was a lovely knitting pattern. I would like to knit another pattern by that same designer. Socks with short row heels is next. I have only knit socks, and again, it's this pair that I am wearing with a heel flap and gusset. There goes my list with a heel flap and gusset. So on this list is a lot of different heel styles that I would like to attempt this year so that I can figure out what heel style I like the best. I'm pretty happy with the heel flap and gusset. I think it's kind of fun to knit, to be honest, but I do want to try other ones. And then finally, something with color work. And this is just your like stranded color work as opposed to mosaic knitting. But I'm also open to other kinds of color work. But I will say if it's mosaic knitting, I will have to cross off the mosaic knitting one. That won't count towards the color work one. So those are two different concepts. So that is my 2025 knitting bingo. So I either have to get 5 in a row, or if it's across the middle, 4 in a row. While I would love to do all of these, I only want, like, my goal for this year is just to get 5 in a row. And even if I just get 5, I will be pretty proud of myself. Some of these things are quite big projects. Like finishing the work in progress blanket is a huge undertaking because it is going to be a massive blanket. Also, finishing a sweater or making a sweater, that's a time consuming process. So I don't know that, like, I imagine there's no way that I'm going to finish a work in progress sweater, knit the Grace sweater, the Isle pullover, the texture sweater, and improvise a sweater all in the same year. That seems like a lot. If I do, sweet. If I don't, I'm like giving myself permission not to reach those goals. So that's why that was kind of the rationale behind the knitting bingo. This was not my original idea. I follow a lovely lady on YouTube. Her name is Lena Norms. She's a phenomenal YouTuber. She's been doing it for many years. She also just wrote a book. I will include all of her information below. But she, last year for 2024, did a sewing bingo. And I won't give all that information away, but basically she did something like this. I think she only did a 3x3 sewing bingo, and then so her goal was just to get 3, but she had a lot bigger projects on there, and her goal might have been to get all 6 of them. I'm not sure. I'll let you watch that video if you're interested, but I did get this idea from her, and I thought, well, that's a great way to allow my creativity to flourish at the beginning of the year and think about all the things I would love to do, but give myself permission not to do all of them. Because one of the things I struggle with when making goals at the beginning of the year is if I don't feel like halfway through the year, if I don't feel as creatively inspired by the goal that I made in January, I'm not going to do it, but I'm also going to feel like I failed. Where here, if I don't feel creatively inspired to knit the Grace sweater, and I don't knit the Grace sweater, but I knit 5 other things, like something with eyelets, I darn a pair of socks, I make a cowl, knit some mittens, you know, I will still feel successful, but allow myself the creativity to move within this space. So I'm very excited about this. I hope that this concept works. I will keep you updated. Definitely at the end of 2025, I will sit down and make a video about all my 2025 knits and how it ended up on my 2025 knitting bingo sheet. But I also want to briefly talk about the 3 goals that I have set for myself. And these are 3 goals that I'm not wavering on. I'm not going to be mean to myself. And technically these are 2, because the first one is I want to get a bingo on my knitting bingo card. So that one's kind of the same as, it's like a goal within this big goal. And then my second goal is I would like to knit 12 socks this year. And I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I'm not sure who came up with this idea. Again, this was not my idea. I get a lot of my creativity and creative ideas from other people. But this gal that I came across either on Instagram or on YouTube made the comment that she tries to knit 1 pair of socks a month. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. What a good way to always have a pair of socks on the needles. It's a fairly low pressure thing because you're not trying to knit a ton of socks and you have a whole month to complete them, but you always have just a pair of socks to pick up. And it can be fairly mindless when you're not knitting the heel or the toe and you're just going. So I thought my goal this year is going to be to knit 1 pair of socks a month for a total of 12 socks at the end of the year. And if I knit 2 socks 1 month, then I can skip a month of knitting socks. The goal is just to have by December 31st, 2025 is to have 12 pair of socks. And I want to knit socks for me, for my family members, for my friends who have requested socks, all within that 12 socks a month. And then if you watched my Christmas gift knits video, you'll know that I basically have enough sock yarn collected from gifts and from just buying things on sale that I have enough yarn, almost, if not completely enough yarn, to knit 12 pairs of socks this coming year, or this year. We're already in 2025. We're like a solid week into 2025 at this point. And then finally, this is not a knitting goal, but I have this dress that I got from Target, or I think I actually got it from Goodwill, but it is a Target brand. I love this dress. I'm not much of a dress wearer, but this dress fits me perfectly. It's so comfortable. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. It works in the summer, it works in the winter. I'm obsessed with this dress. I have checked Poshmark, I have checked eBay, I have searched by image, and I have never been able to find this dress because I would buy it in every color available since it's the only dress that I really enjoy wearing and I love wearing it to work. But I'm giving up because I can't find it online anywhere. However, it is a fairly simple dress. It is, from what I can tell, it is 2 pieces of fabric, the back and the front, and they are cut out the exact same. And because it's a knit style fabric, it's stretchy, so it doesn't need to be, you don't need to add in pleats or anything like that for it to lay on your body quite nicely. So my goal this year is to sew a copycat dress from some fabric I picked up at Joann's so that I can have more than one of those dresses. And I'm going to grab, I should have done this before, but I am going to grab the fabric that I've already purchased for this dress. And I will take a picture of this dress and put it up on the screen. But these are the fabrics that I purchased. And these are both on sale at Joann's because they were fall prints. But this is the first one. This is probably going to be the one that I start with first, because I have far more of this, so if I make a mistake, I can correct it using this. Where this fabric, which is probably my favorite, it's the most similar to what the dress is made out of right now. This fabric, I have a little bit less of it. I think I have a little over 2 yards of this fabric, and then I think I have 3 yards of this fabric, and I think it'll be more than enough because it's pretty wide. And again, that dress is just two pieces of fabric cut and sewn together on the sides. There's no sleeves, there's no darts. It has a mock neckline. It's a very simple construction from what I can tell. So my third non-knitting goal, but goal this year in the creative space, is to make a copycat dress so that I can wear it more often, and in other colors. Of course, those two are almost the same color, but one of them's patterned, so it's different. They're different. And then I don't have it written down on my sheet, but I also hope to make 52 YouTube videos by the time 2025 is over. I'm giving myself some leeway. I'm counting the ones that I made in 2024. I would love to do weekly YouTube videos. I'm going to try to post them on Saturday or Sunday of every week, so you can look forward to that. I am not going to be perfect. I'm still learning this whole video thing, YouTube thing. Editing is completely new to me. I'm recording this on my iPhone. So, it's a whole new endeavor, but I really appreciate those of you that have taken a chance on the channel and clicked on this video and watched it till the end. I really appreciate you, and I hope you stick around. And best of luck on your 2025 endeavors. And thank you again for watching, and have a good one.